What's up guys, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel, and we're doing something that I don't think I have ever done, or maybe like done once before, and that is filming while I have my kids. Well, one of them. And so she is playing in the other room. I promised myself I would get one more video up before the end of the month. So this is Thursday, I'm filming it. I will edit this tonight and get it up on Friday. Hopefully Friday morning or afternoon is when you're watching this, and let's get into it. I just wanted to make a kind of like life update, checking in with you guys. I haven't been on camera in a minute and I just felt like it was time to get the camera out. I did ask you guys to put your questions on Instagram and YouTube. So one of your questions was, can you share your pasta salad recipe? And that's what I'm having for lunch today. So I'm gonna show you what I do for my pasta salad. Now, quick disclaimer, this is not like a real recipe that I got from anywhere. This is just like the things that I like all put into a bowl together. So I'm gonna show you what I do. It's a little different every time. I'm also gonna try not to be gasping through the video because as of Sunday, I will officially be 8 months pregnant and it is very hard to breathe right now. He is really up high. I don't know if you guys can tell, I can't back up that much, like how high he is, but yeah, it's quite hard to breathe right now. Standing up does help, but anyway. And then I will just sit down and have lunch and chat about life. So first of all, I start off with tricolor rotini. I just think the tricolor tastes better because like the pasta, the different colors have like different flavors to it. There's no measurements. It's just like kind of like how hungry I am. So I already cooked my pasta. I usually cook enough for like a couple days worth. I'll just put in like about this much pasta, and there's already some tomatoes in there, like the baby tomatoes cut in half. I usually put in protein, so chickpeas is a go-to. So I'll just kind of like, you know, again, it depends how hungry I am and how much I'm feeling each of the ingredients. These are the ones I get. I try to prep my veggies. I'm not a meal prep type person. I just feel like eating chicken that you made 5 days ago, like, doesn't sound good, but I do try to prep my veggies. So I like green pepper only in pasta salad. I really dislike green pepper overall, but for some reason in pasta salad, I like it, so. And then I usually do olives. So I get the ones that are sliced. I drained these, but not well enough. So some olive juice got in there, but that's okay. For the chickpeas, definitely I drain them and I rinse them because they come in this liquid that's like very foamy and I don't like it. It's like slimy. So I rinse them so they're not slimy. I have some hard-boiled eggs, so I'm gonna put one of those in there, and cheese. Again, the meal prep, if you hard boil eggs ahead of time, then it makes it easier when you want to eat one later. Usually for lunch, I go like more vegetarian. I don't really have a lot of meat for lunch. And then I'll cook like chicken or beef or something for dinner. I'll just slice up my egg. Again, this is like a lot of just what's on hand. Like if I don't have tomatoes on hand, but I have celery or cucumber, or I don't have green pepper, whatever, like I'll just sub in different stuff just based on what vegetables we have that week. And same thing for cheese. Like I prefer mozzarella. I get the shredded mozzarella. But if we don't have mozzarella, like we usually have like the Mexican cheese, shredded cheese. So I'll just put some of that in there. It's also good, slightly different like taste. But all right, so this is what it looks like. It's kind of a lot, but I'm pregnant, so I'm hungry. And the last step is dressing. I always use Italian dressing. This is just like the store brand from my grocery store, but I really like the Ken's brand dressings. Like in general, I feel like Ken's is really good for all their dressings, but I just have this one right now. Mix that up, and then I usually just eat it out of this bowl because it's just easier. I don't really have like a bowl big enough. So, all right, let me lower you guys down now that I'm gonna sit and eat and answer some questions and just talk about where I've been and stuff. So, like I said, I'm almost 8 months pregnant. I've got about 6 or 7 weeks left till this baby's here. At latest. I did an elective induction with my second daughter, and I plan to do it with this baby as well, which is a boy. And It's funny because that's like very controversial on social media at least. But for me, like my doctor, because I'm over 35 with like my last daughter and with this baby, it's recommended to not go past 39 weeks, and not every OB would say the same. But for me, like I'm a control freak, and knowing the last possible date that he'll be here and being able to kind of like plan for that end to this pregnancy and not being an unknown of when I'm going to go into labor really helps me like feel more calm about it. And I had a great experience with my induction last time, and I think it did help that I was already, I think 3 centimeters dilated when I went in for my induction. So obviously if you're not dilated at all, an induction can take days. But for me, I was already like pretty far along, and from start to finish, it took about 8 hours from like when they started Pitocin to when I pushed her out, and it was great. Like birth plan wise, I really do hope not to have a C-section. I plan to get an epidural, and unless I go into labor sooner, I plan to get induced at 39 weeks. And like, I just have no desire for like a natural birth. I never have even considered it. I like not getting an epidural or like not wanting to be induced or anything. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I think I just get so worried towards the end. I'm just like, I just want the baby to be here. And I feel like the less pain I'm in, the more I'll be able to have a chance to like push him out and like relax my body. That's just been like my perspective on it. So everyone's different. No judgment for anyone who like wants differently, but that's just like what I'm planning to do. My husband is getting 4 weeks of paternity leave, which is not enough. My husband could take more, kind of. He works for a startup, so it's very small, and there's not like, it's not like a company with thousands of people where there's lots of people who do your same job. So it's a little harder for him to take time off. But at the same time, taking longer than a month is just like, it's just not in the cards financially for us right now either, because he doesn't get full pay. He just like the Massachusetts state benefit pays about 60% pay of what he would normally earn. So yeah, he is gonna use some vacation time after that 4 weeks to take Fridays off for another 4 weeks. So that'll get us to 8 weeks. We'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that adjusting to 3 kids, I'm sure it's gonna be absolute chaos, but I'm hoping that that he's a good sleeper. Like, that's all I'm hoping, that he's healthy and that he's just a slightly better sleeper than my other 2 girls, because they were not good sleepers as newborns at all. So I'm like, please, for the 3rd one, can we just get a good sleeper? So money wise, we do have some savings set aside to make up for that shortfall during paternity leave. Plus we're just like slimming down our budget a little bit during that month that he's taking time off. So like when he takes the Fridays off, he'll use vacation time, so he'll just get his normal pay for that 2nd month. But the 1st month will be out like 40% of what we normally would earn in that month. I think when you're pregnant, you're really sensitive and emotional, and there's just some relationships in my life that are difficult that I don't talk about ever, because I just don't want to bring that to the internet. And dealing with those while pregnant is just like another level of challenging. So I've been having some days where I'm just like in a really bad mood. And that's also just what comes with pregnancy, and also what comes with it being the end of February after it's been cold here in New England for like ever since like Halloween basically. And we've had a really cold winter, like extra cold. I feel like last year was not as freezing. Let's take a look at some of your questions, and I'll try not to ramble on for too long, but when I'm pregnant, my brain is kind of mush, so I end up rambling a lot, but we'll try. Okay, dream but realistic vacation goal. It's funny you're saying this. Last week I was like in a super bad mood because it was just so cold and icy and raining and sleet. It was just, I was so over it. And I was like, my daughter was on her February vacation. I grew up in California where we got like 1 break in the spring. It was like in March, but here in Massachusetts, they get 2 breaks, I think because of the winter maybe. You get a break from school for a week in February and in April. So I was thinking like, I really want to start taking a vacation somewhere warm during February break so we can get a break from that like end of winter blues. And then when we get back, we've only got a few weeks till March is here. Like already this week, it's in the 50s. And so much warmer than it was like even last week. Like it's warmed up by like 40 degrees in the course of a week. Taking a trip with 3 children under the age of 6 is going to be a lot of work, but I think the more we like just start doing it and traveling with the kids, the better it's going to be. Every time you see me sit down like this, it's because I had to get up to help said 2-year-old with something. And this is why I don't film when they're around, because I just like lose my train of thought and then I start getting frustrated and I just don't want to like... Anyway, I'm gonna scoot you over. I feel like this lighting isn't great. I might flip you around actually. All right, I feel like that is slightly better. My kitchen has like a bunch of windows and it was making the lighting all weird. What were we talking about? Vacation. I was gonna give you a short answer. So I was like, yeah, we need to start traveling in February. Now, the thing that makes traveling with kids hard is if you go to somewhere in a different time zone, so they have to adjust like to the new time zone. So that was kind of like off the table. And obviously like living in the Northeast on the East Coast, like we just need to go south. So I've been looking at places in Florida and we have enough points through a credit card like hacking thing that I did a couple years ago that we haven't gone anywhere, so they're just sitting there, that I transferred to JetBlue. That is enough for flights for all of us to go to Florida. And I am gonna open a new credit card, I think, and try to get that like card opening bonus. I think I'm gonna do the Chase Sapphire Preferred. That's the one I had before. I don't know if you can do it again and get the bonus, or maybe my husband can open it in his name because I didn't in my name before, and use that to transfer for a hotel. I don't want to do an Airbnb. I want to stay at like some sort of resort that has amenities where we can like stay at the property as much as possible, where there's like some restaurants there and some like water slides or splash pads or something, you know, near the beach that we can either walk a couple blocks to the beach or that we're on the beach. And that way we're not like getting in the car with 3 kids to go everywhere. And I'm thinking like we want to go to like the Tampa area. We've been to Fort Lauderdale and I love that area, but I looked up like what places are like good for kids, and I feel like Tampa is kind of good, or Clearwater Beach, like around there. So I'm gonna spend the next year trying to build up enough points to book a hotel and maybe we can go. And honestly, like that's my dream vacation. I have no desire to, at this point with like little kids, travel out of the country or out of our time zone even. And I just want to be somewhere warm where I can have like a pina colada on the beach, have a nice dinner, and go to bed early. Like that is literally my dream vacation. If I was like dreaming even bigger, I would have a babysitter with us on the vacation that could like watch our kids, so my husband and I could go out to dinner and stuff a couple times. But I love spending time with my kids, and like I can already see with my oldest will be 6. She's already so independent compared to my 2-year-old, and wants a lot less hugs, and like she has emotional needs but a lot less physical needs. And so I want to just like cherish this time with these little kids, and then like there'll be time for other vacations. But I've never been big on traveling, so I just like, I don't really like sightseeing. I've just never liked having to like go far to wait in line to see something that I could look in a book. It's just like I've been a couple places and it just hasn't been like a moving experience for me. And some people it is. It like they come back from that type of trip energized, and I come back exhausted. Like I just want to go somewhere to relax. So dream vacation is somewhere on the beach in Florida. See, I could have just said that, but I had to give the long explanation. What is the age gap between your kids? How do you feel about it? This is super interesting because so it's 3 years. I'm gonna have 3 kids total, then we're done. When we first were planning to have kids, I was planning to have a 2-year age gap between kids, and it just happened that it like getting pregnant didn't go as quickly as we hoped for with any of our pregnancies. So it just ended up being 3 years, and I feel like it's such a good age gap because like at 3, your kid is like potty trained or close to potty trained. They're starting preschool, they're starting activities, they're like a little more independent. Like you can leave them for 15 minutes and walk away and take care of something like within earshot, but like, you know, leave them playing or something in their room. You know, it's just like a age where they reach a new level of independence. I feel like 2 to 3 is a really tough time where they need so much from you. And so having a newborn when next youngest is 3 years old, I feel like was really good for us. And I was thinking about this the other day, that when people talk about like how many kids is the right amount, or what's the hardest transition from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or whatever, I feel like the age gap is a really big factor in how people's experience goes that nobody really talks about. So yeah, I feel like the transition between like adding more kids to your family really depends on the individual kids and their personalities and their needs, and also like your personality, your family dynamic, how much help you have, the age gap, and yeah, so 0 to 1 for me was the hardest. 1 to 2 was like the next hardest, and I'm hoping 2 to 3 is like the easiest. Will you be saving for your kids to go to college? Yes, I would love to be doing more of this, but our retirement is a priority, so until we're fully on track with that, we're not putting any of our own money. However, anytime our kids are gifted money for like birthdays or Christmas or anything, that check goes immediately into their 529s. So they've got like a good amount built up in there just from like gifts over the years from family. Have you considered reallocating a portion of your sinking funds towards pay yourself first? Not really. The purpose of the sinking funds are to cover things that we know are expenses in our budget. I feel like our home maintenance sinking fund, our car maintenance sinking fund, I guess I could cut back on kids' activities, but it's $250 a month for our 2 daughters. Like, I feel like that's super reasonable. I'm not going to have my kids not do activities. So I don't know. I just don't feel like there's really anywhere to cut there. Boy names you like but won't use. Naming a boy was harder than naming our girls. I mean, either way, it's like a big decision. And by the time you get to number 3, you're like, okay, how does this name fit in with the other names I've already picked? I don't know. We only really liked one name, and I don't share our kids' names. I guess one name that we've liked that we're not using is Lucas, just because it was like, I think in the top 5 most popular names. So for all of our kids, we picked a name that was in the top 100 most popular names for the year they were born, but not like in the top like 10, 15, like somewhere like a little further down the list. So it's like a known name, but it's not like the most popular name. So yeah, I like Lucas. Luke, I think is cute. How would you split sinking funds if you only have about $600 left after paying all your monthly bills? It's a really good question. It's impossible to answer without like looking at your budget and knowing what other things you're including in your bills and like what your life looks like. Like if you have kids, do you own a car? So if you do, you probably need car maintenance as a sinking fund. Do you own a home? Or even if you don't own a home and you rent, like probably having a line item for like home maintenance or apartment maintenance or whatever in there is a good idea. How are your medical expenses paid? Do you have an HSA or an FSA that you pay medical out of, or do you need to pay out of pocket? How much medical expenses do you have for the year? Do you need to put anything aside from medical and a sinking fund? Like it's too hard to answer without knowing the whole picture of your budget. I do budget coaching if you're interested. So you can do like a one-off session, or you can do my 3-month like coaching program. And so I'll link all that below. Do your parents or in-laws ever watch the kids for you to get a break? I debated about answering this one because I try to stay away from like family stuff on my channel, just because 1, I feel like it's not only my business that's being shared. 2, my kids may watch this someday. And 3, like some of this stuff is not things I've addressed with the people we're talking about directly. So like, I don't want to talk about it online if I haven't talked about it with like face-to-face with somebody. Relationships can be complicated. I have a lot of complicated relationships in my life with some of the people named, and the short answer is it's not never, but it's very, very few and far between. It would be very different if that was not the case. And yeah, it would be different. What do you want to have done before baby boy arrives? A million things, because that nesting instinct just like pops up. I'm like, I need to like dust the baseboards. But mainly we just need to do like normal stuff, like get the car seat installed, pack hospital bag. Not setting up the nursery now as much as I would love to, because there's just not the funds to decorate. And the crib that he's going to be using when he's ready for a crib is the one my 2-year-old is in now, and she's going to be ready to move into a like toddler bed or big girl bed over the summer, and he'll still be in his bassinet at that point. So the timing, again, with the age gap, 3-year age gap, like you're able to use things from one kid to the next because the older ones had enough time to outgrow the thing before the next one needs it. We're gonna put the rocking chair in our room for now, and because we're gonna use it in our room rather than putting it in the nursery. So yeah, we're just not setting that up yet. I already washed his clothes. I need to get a little bit more. I've got some diapers, but I'm just doing like the bare minimum. Diapers, wipes, swaddles, sleepers that zip both ways, bassinet, car seat. We have a stroller. Anything else I need, I can get when he's here. After he's here, I'm gonna update our estate plan. If you don't know, I used to be an estate planning attorney, so I'm gonna update it to include him, and that way we're all good to go, have all those documents in order. How are you planning to teach your kids about money? Do they or will they get an allowance they can spend however they want? This is a really good question that I haven't fully figured out. In general, I'm already trying to teach my 6-year-old about budgeting, and I show her our budget. I'm calling her 6. She's not gonna be 6 for a few months. Our 5-year-old about budgeting. I explain to her sometimes when she like asks for something, well, you can get this or this, not both, because we are thoughtful about how we spend our money, and we can't buy everything, but we can buy lots of nice things. So I'm trying to teach her like little lessons like that and explain like a budget is a plan for your money. In terms of allowance, like definitely equal kids will get an allowance. Like I want them to know they have a set amount of money that they can spend on things that they want. I have no idea when that will start or how much it'll be. And also I was thinking about this when I was reading this question earlier, like I don't know if I want to tie their allowance to chores, because I feel like teaching them that when you do chores, which are things around your home that you have to do to maintain cleanliness and like your life, that you get rewarded for that. Because as an adult, that doesn't happen. You just have to do those things. So I don't know if I want to teach her from a young age that she has to do these things for a reward. I think I just want to teach her about chores and responsibility and include her. Like I already include my daughters when like I'm putting away laundry and we like make it a game. I'm like, okay, can you run over and put these in the drawer where they go? Do you remember where this thing goes? And you know, can you go into the bathroom and put these washcloths away? And they'll like help me with it. And also I don't want them to think of like chores in like a reward punishment kind of sense. I think we will do an allowance. My husband and I obviously will talk about it when the time comes because we're not quite there yet. What are some strategies you've used to save money on groceries? 2 biggest things are meal planning and grocery pickup. Meal planning, make sure you don't buy stuff that you're not gonna use that's just gonna go bad. And grocery pickup helps you not impulse buy things because you just buy what you need and you don't have a chance to like walk by aisles and be like, oh, that looks good, I'm gonna grab it. What's your biggest financial win for 2024? A couple other questions in there. Top financial priority for 2025. Biggest win for 2024, I would say, was buying our house. Like I really, ever since my daughter was born, the whole reason, not the whole reason, but one of the biggest reasons we started paying off debt is because we really wanted to be in our long-term house by the time she started kindergarten. And so I knew we had like about 5.5 years to get that accomplished. And so getting there about 8 months before she started school was very exciting for us. Top financial priority for 2025? That's a good question. I think just like continue to stay motivated with focusing on finances, because I have been very demotivated and money is so tight. It just feels like, is it even worth all this stress and focus and energy and budgeting to make like a couple baby steps forward? But I know it is, because some years you make small steps and some years you make giant leaps, and this is a small steps year for us probably. And so staying motivated when it's not like the exciting part of your financial journey would be my biggest goal. How do you feel about people who post their children online for financial gain? I think it's not good. I think you need to treat it like you are having them be a child actor, and that's something a lot of parents do. Now, as time's gone on, we're seeing the repercussions of what happens when children are forced to do stuff as children that is not good for them emotionally. And the thing with posting your kids online is like, they don't even understand when you're filming them what's being done with that footage, you know? I've gone extra conservative with it. I don't share my kids' names. I barely even post the back of their head because I get paranoid about people even knowing what their hair looks like. I think it can be really damaging, especially when they're in the comfort of their own home with their parent and there's just like a camera there and they're not really comprehending that that's being filmed and being shown to the world. As these kids get older, I think we're gonna start seeing a lot more of the repercussions of that. The thing that's most important to me in my life, more than money, is having a healthy relationship with my kids in a way where they still want me to be a part of their life when they're adults. And I feel like posting them on the internet goes against that goal in like one of the biggest ways possible. Plus, I think there's plenty of ways, and there's plenty of like successful content creators, like mom content creator, without having your kids be the star of the show. And there's like plenty of examples of that on social. And you know, sharing your experience about motherhood without talking about like what age your kids were when they were potty trained, or talking about what milestones they're hitting, or showing their face. Like, you can talk about motherhood and your experience in motherhood, and without like featuring your kids in your content. Like, if their face slips in there like occasionally, I don't think that's like gonna be emotionally damaging for them. But if they're the star of the show, it's just not needed. Have you noticed a significant savings since you refinanced your mortgage, or do you regret doing it so early? It's not like we're not noticing the savings. Like, we noticed the savings for our mortgage was like almost $4,500. Now it's 42 something, but I've been rounding it up to 4,300, and it would have been lower, but our property taxes went up this year. So we noticed the savings, and it was a no cost refi. So like, our rate was lower without increasing the balance to our mortgage, without paying anything out of pocket. So it was like a no-brainer. There's no cost to us to do it. And I'm glad we didn't wait, because mortgage rates are, we're now in like mid sixes, and now they're back in the sevens. So they dropped for a bit and then went back up. So if we hadn't done it when we did, we'd be stuck in the sevens. And with how things are looking, with what the Fed has said, they are pausing any more interest rate cuts. So like, that's why rates are back up. And so I don't think we're gonna see rates in the sixes, let alone the fives, anytime soon. As a fellow New Englander who is house hunting and dealing with some sticker shock and the cost of living, what features did you consider when choosing a town to buy your new house? Is there anything that surprised you or that you would do differently? We had lived in this town before, and so we knew we liked it. It's very central to the things that we do and the people that we spend time with. And what we're looking for is a nice community, convenient to the highways, close enough to the city that we can go into the city to do things, but far enough out that it's not like those city prices or suburbs of Boston prices. With that said, all of Massachusetts, where we live, is like pretty expensive. So the other thing we were looking at is this a house that can grow with us? Because we got less house than I was hoping to get. I actually haven't told you guys this because I've been like, not embarrassed about it, but just feeling like a little disappointed, because for how much we're paying, like, I already was getting hate on our mortgage, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with people judging on how big our house is. Our house is about 2,000 square feet. It has 3 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms. So we really wanted a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house, and that just was going to be over $800,000 unless it was like a total gut job. And we were not, like, we are not handy people. We don't have handy people in our family, so we needed something that was not going to require a lot of work, and over $800,000 was not in our budget. It sucks because those same houses were only going to be $550 3-4 years ago. It would have been in our budget, but it is what it is. So we bought a house that we could totally be comfortable in till our kids go off to college as is. But if we have an opportunity, like, our basement is finished, so that could be additional bedroom space. We have another room that's like partially finished that we could finish, that could be another bedroom. And then also there's a lot of houses in our neighborhood that did additions above the garage and turned their houses into a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And that would be like the dream goal, is to do that maybe in like 5 years. And for us, we were looking for a good school for our kids. So I get it that you may not be able to get the house that you could have gotten a few years ago with the same income. And that sucks. Massachusetts is a great state. Besides the weather, like, I absolutely love it here. Everything about it. And when buying a home, try to buy something that you know will work for you for at least 10 years. Like, buying a home and moving and selling and all that stuff is such a stressful process and very expensive. So if you can't get exactly what you want, try to find something that you know you can like grow with or add to or make work for a good while before you're gonna wanna move. Like, don't buy something that just fits in your budget but is way too small just to own, and then after 3 years you've outgrown it. But good luck. I know it's tough out there. It's like one of the most expensive areas in the country. So that is it for today's video. I think this is gonna be a long one. Anytime I do like a Q&A, chatty type sit down video, it's a long one, but hopefully you guys enjoy that style. Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanna see more from me, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and I'll talk to you guys soon in the next one. Bye. Oh, perfect timing. My husband just jumped in the shower and I can hear the water running, and I know the mic would have picked that up. So having a quiet house during the day when you have a husband that works from home and little children, it's just like nearly impossible.